Hello, hello, high level listeners. We're back with another episode of High Level Listening, the show where we compare American and British English in fun conversations so you can speak more naturally in your everyday life.
Yes, that's right. Hello, everyone. Great to have you back. And today we're going to the supermarket and doing some grocery shopping. Like always, we'll share our own little stories full of high-level vocabulary and phrases. Kat will talk about picking up groceries in American English, and then I'll share my story about popping to the supermarket with my British accent and more British vocabulary. Then after we've read our stories, we'll go back and go through them once again to highlight and explain all the best supermarket phrases so you can sound more like a native speaker too.
Just as a quick reminder, you can support us right here on YouTube by becoming a High Level Listening member. Then you get PDF transcripts, or you can upgrade to a vocabulary member tier to get the picture dictionaries, the study guides, and the Season 4 study packs.
Yes, don't forget, we've already loaded more than 65 study guides in the High Level Listening store on PayHip. That's full of resources that will help you take your English to the next level. They're available in the link in the description below. Okay, so here we go. Kat's going to go first. Today's question is, what do you normally do when you go to the supermarket?
So before I go to the grocery store, I check the fridge and pantry to see what we're running low on and make a list to avoid overspending or forgetting anything. At the store, I grab a cart and usually start in the produce section, then hit the dairy aisle, and finally the frozen section. I look for store brand items or brands that are on sale to save a little cash. I try to get everything in one trip. It's just easier than shopping around. Once I've got everything we need, I head to the checkout lane, the cashier rings me up, bags up all the groceries, and I load up the car and head home.
Well, very organized.
I know. I've got it down to a T, honestly. All right. So, Mark, what do you normally do when you go to the supermarket?
Well, I hardly ever do a big shop anymore. Instead, I nip into the supermarket almost every other day, usually when I notice that I need a few bits. So on my way home from work, I'll pop in, get one of the little trolleys and top up on a few things like bread, tea bags, maybe a pint of milk, and I'll try to piece together a few meals. I'll also check the reduced section to see if anything's been marked down. And then because I've only got a handful of items, I can usually skip the queue and pay at the self-service till. So generally, I keep my trips short and sweet.
Short and sweet. That's how we like it.
Right, so don't worry if you didn't catch everything from the first read of our stories. We're about to go back through them once more to highlight and explain all the best vocabulary and expressions about shopping at the supermarket. Also, if there are any key differences in vocabulary between British and American English, we will highlight them and explain them a little more. So, back to your side of the story, Kat. What do you do before you head to the store?
Well, before I go to the grocery store, I check the fridge and pantry to see what we're running low on. So, probably one of the bigger differences between British and American English. A lot of Americans say the grocery store. The grocery store. So, before I go to the grocery store. Now, Mark, what would you normally say if you're going to go get some groceries?
In the UK, we would go to the supermarket. We do have grocers or greengrocers. That's a shop that only sells fruits and vegetables, though, whereas a supermarket sells everything.
That totally makes sense. Now, in American English, we would say grocery, grocery. And I kind of heard Mark say grocer, a greengrocer. So we
hmm
do say that sh sound. So before I go to the grocery store, I check the fridge and pantry to see what we're running low on. Now, we have the word refrigerator, but I usually just call it the fridge. So I check the fridge. Let's see. What do we have? What we don't have? So I check the fridge and the pantry. The pantry, oh, okay. I didn't realize this was American. Okay, so the pantry is the storage area in your kitchen that usually keeps the dry food. So think of things like dry pasta, rice, beans, cans of food. If you have milk that doesn't need to go in the refrigerator, you can put these items in the pantry. It's kind of a big storage area.
Yeah. In the UK, that is the cupboard. Put it in the
Ah, the
cupboard.
cupboard. Put
Yep.
it in the
Open the
cupboard.
cupboard, close the cupboard. My grandparents said pantry, which makes me think
Oh,
maybe it's quite an old-fashioned word. But in the
okay.
UK nowadays, yep, it's in the cupboard. Check the cupboard.
Okay, very nice. So before I go to the grocery store, I check the fridge and pantry to see what we are running low on. When you are running low on something, it's almost finished. So I have a little bit left. We are running low on milk. We are running low on ketchup. We're running low on fresh vegetables. So I like to check the fridge and pantry to see what we're running low on.
It's usually the phrase before you go shopping, we're running low on milk, so I need to go to the shop. Or we're running low on pasta, so I need to go to the supermarket.
Exactly. Now, what about you, Mark? How often do you go to the supermarket?
I hardly ever do a big shop anymore. So how often do I go? Hardly ever. It's not often at all. And I hardly ever do a big shop.
Mm,
This might be quite a British phrase. So you can say, I go shopping, or I buy lots of things, or you can do a big shop.
mhm.
It's Saturday. We're going to do a big shop. When I was younger, every Saturday, my mum and my sister and I used to go to the supermarket and fill the car with a lot of stuff. We would buy enough things to last maybe 1 week or maybe 2 weeks, and that is a big shop. You have a long list and you're going to spend a lot of money. But nowadays, my shopping habits are quite different, and I'll talk about them later.
So I was trying to think of what we might say in the United States. I would probably say that we do a weekly grocery store run, RUN.
Mm.
So the weekly run to the grocery store. But I think just in general, we don't really call it anything because we always do a big shop in the United States. I think that's why I couldn't think of a word for it.
Everything's bigger in the USA. So a
Everything's
big
bigger in
shop
the
for me
US.
is just a normal shop
It's just a
for
normal shop
Americans.
for me.
I see.
Normal supermarket run. Yes.
Mm. Okay, so back to your side. Do you usually make a list before you go to the supermarket?
Yes, I make a list to avoid overspending or forgetting anything. So when we make a list, some people say write a list, but I would usually say make a list. Let's make a list or let's write some things down to avoid overspending. When you avoid something, you're trying not to do it. Okay. I want to avoid overspending. Now, think of what this word has in it overspending. Oh, we're spending too much. We are overspending. So I want to avoid overspending and I don't want to forget anything. So I made this list to why? Why did I do this? Well, to avoid overspending or forgetting. So you can add any verb you want to avoid listening, to avoid doing, to avoid buying too much, or forgetting anything. I don't want to forget anything. We go to the store, it's already stressful, there's already a lot of things to do. Could you imagine coming home? Ugh, I forgot the milk.
Worst feeling.
Worst feeling. I forgot the one thing we really needed.
Mm. Right.
All right. So, Mark, you said you hardly ever do a big shop anymore. So, what do you do instead?
Instead, I nip into the supermarket almost every other day, usually when I notice that I need a few bits. So, some good British phrases in here. I don't go once a week to do a big shop. Instead, I nip into the supermarket. You
Nip,
may have heard this
nip.
from previous episodes. If I nip into a place, I enter the place for a short time. If you nip into the bank, you'll be there for like 5 minutes. If I nip into the supermarket, I don't plan on spending a long time, 10, 15 minutes. So I nip into the supermarket almost every other day. So, like
Hmm.
Monday, yes. Tuesday, no. Wednesday, yes. Thursday, no. So every other day. And it's usually when I notice that I need a few bits. Okay, yeah, that gets a flag too.
A
When,
few bits.
like,
A few
yeah,
bits.
like what you were saying earlier, you open the fridge or open the pantry or the cupboard and you notice some things are almost running out or some things are gone. Think, oh, okay, I need a few bits. Bits just means food, items, products. And it can be anything from food to soap to toothpaste or pasta. Anything can be bits. And it's usually what we say, I need a few bits from the supermarket. I'm just going to nip into the supermarket and get a few bits. We put your bits on the belt at the end. We use bits for all the things you're going to buy in a supermarket. Okay, back to your side. So you've made a list. You've arrived at the store or the supermarket or the grocery store. What do you do first?
Well, at the store, I grab a cart and usually start in the produce section, then hit the dairy aisle, and finally the frozen section. I'm thinking of my local grocery store. I grab a cart. Okay. We like this word. We love grab and we love, yes, this is a good one, actually. Mark,
Mm,
what do you say instead of cart?
it's a trolley.
Trolley. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. So I grab a cart, and the cart is the little metallic basket on wheels that you push. Sometimes you can push the cart. And I grab a cart and usually start in the produce section. So another one, really. The produce section. Is that really American? What do you call it?
It's the pronunciation is American.
Oh,
So
yes.
I would say produce, like J, like juice that you drink, orange juice, produce.
Produce, produce. And I would say produce, not produce, which is the verb, produce section, the produce section. Now, in the grocery store, you have a few different parts. We call them sections. So you've got the dairy section, you've got the bread section, you've got the bakery section, the meat section, the frozen section, the produce section. The produce section specifically is for fresh fruits and vegetables. Frozen section will have lots of freezers, so frozen food. And then you've got lots of other parts or sections of the supermarket. And then you also have aisles. Aisles. These are the rows that you walk down. So the dairy aisle, the bread aisle, the snack food aisle. If it's just one single row, the aisle. So the produce section, then I hit the dairy aisle, and finally the frozen section. I want to keep all of that cold frozen food cold before I get home. So I usually go there last.
Smart.
All right, Mark, what things do you usually buy at the supermarket?
So on my way home from work, I'll pop in, get one of the little trolleys and top up on a few things like bread, tea bags, maybe a pint of milk, and I'll try to piece together a few meals too. So I used nip into the supermarket last time. Now, on my way home from work, so going home, I'll pop in. You ready? I see you ready. Yeah,
I was ready. I was ready.
right. Nip into and pop into have the same meaning. Again, I'm using this verb because I want to emphasize that it's a quick, short visit. I'm going into the supermarket for just 5 or 10 minutes. I'll pop in, I'll nip in, or pop into, nip into. It's the same. We already talked about the cart in the US is the trolley in the UK. Because I'm not buying lots of things, I will get one of the little trolleys, so it doesn't have a lot of space, and top up on a few things. Yes, I will top up. Maybe at home, I open the fridge, open the cupboard, and yeah, there's only 2 or 3 tea bags left. There's only 1 or 2 slices of bread left. So I need to buy more. I need to top up. Same verb when you're buying credit or data on your phone. Top up.
Yeah.
We do the same thing with food. Top up.
I like the phrase top up. I actually use it because I think it's faster to say. I would probably say stock up. Stock up.
Oh, yeah.
So if you stock up on a few things, meaning you buy things so you have them ready at home.
Stock up sounds like you're going to buy quite a lot, so you have
I
enough
know.
for
It's
the
good to
next few
stock up,
months.
but it Americans do stock up on a lot.
That's true, right? You got those
I
big
mean, it's
pantries
just
to
we've
keep
got
filling.
bigger kitchens, bigger pantries, bigger fridges. Maybe that's why we say that. Yeah.
That's fair, yeah. But yeah, so I'll top up on a few things or a few bits like bread, tea bags, and maybe a pint of milk. Milk in the UK is usually sold in pints. I believe that's 556 milliliters. I hope that's right. And I'll try to piece together a few meals. So maybe I've already got some pasta at home. So in the supermarket, I will buy some meat. I can put the meat and the pasta together. Okay, and then I need tomatoes. Let's make a bolognese. Okay, meat and tomatoes and the pasta can go together. So mentally, I'm trying to piece together a few meals, just one or two meals. Does that get a flag as well?
Well, okay. So the things that you said after, you said pasta and
Oh,
you said tomatoes.
oh,
So
so
just a pronunciation difference is all.
so
Pasta,
pasta,
tomatoes.
tomatoes. Sure. This is a good one, actually. There's lots of differences here. Okay, so back to your side. You made a list because you don't want to overspend, but do you have any other tips that help you save money?
So I usually look for store brand items and brands that are on sale to try to save a little cash. So, store brand items. Okay. When you go to the grocery store, there are some name brands that you know, like Coca-Cola or Bimbo bread. These are brand names. In the United States, we have store brand items. So our local grocery store has their own items. They make them. So they're usually lower in price. And because you're buying them at your local grocery store, it's usually lower in price. They control the company. These are store brand items. So I look for store brand items or brands that are on sale to save a little cash.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Usually they taste the same. Like the Walmart cola is the same as Coca-Cola, and it's
That's
half
not
the
true.
price,
Okay,
and it
that's
tastes
not true.
just as good.
No,
No,
no, that's not true
I
at
don't
all.
know. I don't drink Coke.
Okay, no, they taste very different, but you have to not care. That is one thing I
Right.
will say no to.
There we
Coca-Cola
go.
tastes different.
That's my money saving strategy. I just don't care what
You
I
just
eat.
don't care.
It's easy.
All right. So even though you don't care about the name brands, what else do you look for?
So I'll also check the reduce section and see if anything's been marked down. So this is the way I might save a bit of money. There's usually a section, a small section in the supermarket called the reduced section.
Mm.
The reduced means the price has been reduced. It could be reduced because maybe the packaging is a bit damaged, or maybe if you look at the sell by date, it only has 1 or 2 days left, so you need to eat it soon after you buy it. It's the reduced section. Sometimes it's 20% off, sometimes 30, sometimes like 80%. And a store employee will usually check the package, see that it's about to go off or broken, and the idea is they take a pen and they mark the new price. So it's been marked down. Someone took
Ah,
a
yes.
marker or a pen and wrote 80% off and put it in the section. And yes, a lot of people check this section to see if anything's been marked down by the staff. And it can be very, very cheap. And the food is still good to eat. It's still in date. It hasn't gone off yet, so it's perfectly safe. And it's a good way to grab a bargain. I saw you wave your flag earlier.
Um, while I do 100% understand the reduced section, I think in the United States, we'd probably call it the clearance section. the
Oh,
clearance
right.
section. Yeah.
Right.
So
Like it's
because
on
we want
clearance.
to clear them off the shelf, that's the clearance section. So that's kind of interesting that that one's a little
See.
different too.
Okay, back to your side. So you've saved a bit of money, you've got a list, you've gone through all the aisles. Do they have everything you need at your local supermarket?
Honestly, usually, yes. I try to get everything in one trip. It's just easier than shopping around. I remember as a kid, when I went to some smaller towns or smaller cities, you still went to the butchers and the bakers and you went to different places. But for the most of the time since I've grown up, we just get everything like one stop shop at one grocery store. They have everything that we need. So I try to get everything in one trip, a trip or a run to the grocery store. It's just easier than shopping around. Now, some people can get everything they need at one grocery store, but you might shop around because you want to get a better deal. If you think something is a little expensive or you know that this item is always expensive at this one grocery store, you might shop around. I think that's becoming less and less common because you have to spend money on gas in order to shop around. But overall, I think it's just easier to get everything in one trip. It's just easier than shopping around. So I know you said you're just going to nip in, you're just going to pop in, but does it take a long time to check out? Are there usually a lot of people there?
Well, then, because I've only got a handful of items, I can usually skip the queue and pay at the self-service till.
All
Again, I go
right.
to the supermarket quite often, every other day. So I've only got a handful of items. A handful meaning a small amount, like I could carry everything in my hands. I've only got a few items. I've only got a handful of items. So I can usually skip the queue. Aha, yes. The queue in the UK is the line of people waiting to pay. So you can call it a queue at the supermarket. It would be a queue at the bank, a queue at the post office, a queue of cars as well. A line makes a queue. And I can skip the queue because if you have less than 15 or less than 10, I can go to the front or I can walk past all the people waiting and go to the self-service till. Aha, the till. The till is where you pay. Sometimes there's a person sitting at the till and they scan your items and charge you the bill. But there is a self-service till where I go up to an iPad, a tablet, and I scan my own items and I put them on a scale and then I pay the machine. I don't talk to anybody. I do it myself. Some people like these. Some people think they're annoying and inconvenient and don't work, and you need help anyway, so it might as well just be a real person. But because I've only got a handful of items, I can skip the queue, so go around and pay at the self-service till. So generally, everything is a bit faster because I've only got a handful of items.
So I think in the United States, we would probably say skip the line and pay at the self checkout. The self
Uh,
checkout. Yes. So I think we do use the word till, but it's for the actual money holder. So we usually
mm,
use a cashier is the person, and the
hmm
checkout is the process of charging your items. Yeah, that's interesting.
mm. Okay, so the last part of your script. Where do you go when you're ready to pay?
Once I've got everything we need, I head to the checkout lane. The cashier rings me up, bags up all the groceries, and I load up the car and head home. We've got tons of verbs here, and some of them are actually phrasal verbs as well. So let's get started. Once I've got everything we need. Okay, I've got this, I've got that, I've got this, I've got that. It sounds like I've checked off everything on my list. I've got this, I've got that. Okay, good. Once I've got everything we need, I head to the checkout lane. Now, there's lots of lanes open, the checkout lanes. Okay, is this where you would call it the till, Mark?
Right, head to the tills.
Head
One,
to
two,
the
three, four.
tills. Head to
Mm,
the tills. So I would head to checkout. or I would head to the checkout lane. Usually there's lanes open and you go into 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever's open. I head to the checkout lane. That's the area, the space. And the person is the cashier. The cashier rings me up. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, so if
Hmm.
you get rung up, oh, I can ring you up over here. Hi, could you ring me up, please? This is kind of a way to say check out or scan your items and then pay. Do you have any other
Right.
term that you would use, Mark?
It's just funny because if you said that in the UK, it sounds like the cashier is going to
Is
phone you.
giving you a
It's
phone
going to
call,
ring me up.
right?
You're like, hello? It's like, yes, it's the cashier. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
hello, yes. So what do you want?
Hello?
So yeah, ring me up is call me. So I know
Ah,
what you mean,
interesting.
but I would say
That's very funny. So the
the
cashier
cashier.
rings me up. Ding. I think it comes from the sound that it makes. Bags up all the groceries. Now we could say bags the groceries, but we're using the word up here because we're doing all of them. Bag everything up 100%. Bags up all the groceries and I load up the car. We're using up in the same way here. Load the car means to put all the items in the car. I'm loading the car, loading the car. Okay, the car is quite heavy now. And I'm loading up. So 100% all the groceries are now in the car and I'm ready to head home. All right. So overall, Mark, how would you describe your supermarket trips?
So generally, I keep my trips short and sweet. So yes, I don't spend a long time in the supermarket because I don't do a big shop. I generally keep my trips short and sweet. Short and sweet is a common phrase. These two words often go together, means it's short and fun, or it's short and easy, or it's short and comfortable. Short and sweet.
Right. Now that we've gone through the vocabulary, let's hear those scripts once more. Before I go to the grocery store, I check the fridge and pantry to see what we're running low on and make a list to avoid overspending or forgetting anything. At the store, I grab a cart and usually start in the produce section, then hit the dairy aisle and finally the frozen section. I look for store brand items or brands that are on sale to save a little cash. I try to get everything in one trip. It's just easier than shopping around. Once I've got everything we need, I head to the checkout lane. The cashier rings me up, bags up all the groceries, and I load up the car and head home.
And here's my script one more time. I hardly ever do a big shop anymore. Instead, I nip into the supermarket almost every other day, usually when I notice that I need a few bits. So on my way home from work, I'll pop in, get one of the little trolleys and top up on a few things like bread, tea bags, maybe a pint of milk, and I'll try to piece together a few meals. I'll also check the reduce section to see if anything's been marked down. And then because I've only got a handful of items, I can usually skip the queue and pay at the self-service till. So generally, I keep my trips short and sweet.
All right, there you go. Lots of useful vocabulary to help you talk about going to the grocery store, buying your groceries, or shopping at the supermarket.
Yeah, see if you can write some sentences using the vocabulary and phrases from this episode.
Absolutely. We read and reply to every single comment we get here on YouTube, so get in touch and practice with us.
And don't forget, if you want the bonus materials with this episode and all of our previous episodes, this episode's available in the Season 4 study pack, as well as in the bundle with Season 1, 2, and 3. That's got the word lists, picture dictionary, listening activities. Those are all waiting for you in the link below.
All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time for another vocabulary episode here on High Level Listening.
Bye.